We're counting down the minutes to the first pitch of today's game.
Yes!
Who's in the starting lineup?
Come on, son. You got to get out there and take the mound. It's game time.
What does the skipper have to say?
It's an attitude. You got to be willing to defend. You got to be willing to base run, or you can't play here.
It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with Tommy Wortz on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Welcome into the leadoff show. Tommy Wortz here with you live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Milwaukee Brewers, San Francisco Giants, Game 3, the series finale on Bob Uecker Celebration of Life today prior to the game. Today's just a little bit bigger than baseball, it feels like. Chad Patrick recalled from AAA Nashville. Carlos Rodriguez optioned down to AAA Nashville. Chad Patrick will get the start today against Robbie Ray. 1:40 first pitch from American Family Field. What's the lineup look like today?
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Thanks again to Lakeland University for being a part of the leadoff show. Experience it your way, lakeland.edu. First for the visiting San Francisco Giants. Young-Hoo Lee in center field will lead things off. Elliot Ramos in left field will bat second. Willie Adames, the shortstop, will bat third. Dominic Smith at first base bats fourth today. Casey Schmidt at second base will bat fifth. Matt Chapman at third base will bat sixth. Wilmer Flores, the DH, bats seventh today. Luis Matos in right field to bat eighth. Andrew Kisner is going to be the catcher, batting ninth. Now for Milwaukee, Sal Frelick in right field will lead things off. Caleb Durbin, the third baseman, to bat second. William Contreras, the DH, will bat third. Christian Yelich in left field bats fourth today. Andrew Vaughn at first base will bat fifth. Bryce Terang at second base will bat sixth. Danny Jansen, the catcher, bats seventh. Brandon Lockridge, the center fielder, batting eighth. Rounding things out for the Crew, the shortstop, batting ninth, Andrew Monasterio. Well, to cut things a little short on it, rewind seems kind of useless today. The game yesterday, a big dud. The Brewers put up one run, lost 7-1 over the San Francisco Giants. They snapped a 7-game home winning streak with the loss. It was their first at American Family Field since July 30th. Now 81-49 on the season. Just the fifth loss in August. Brewers are 17-5 in the month of August. Christian Yelich had a pair of hits. Caleb Durbin, the RBI double, was the lone run. 15th sellout of the year for the Brewers as well. Our good buddy Drew Wagner is going to join the show at 12:15 today, a little bit sooner than he usually does because of the pregame festivities and celebration of life, what they got going on for Bob Uecker. And he sent over some sound that I would like to just play a little bit earlier in the show in regards to today's celebration of life for Bob Uecker. Mark Antanasio, Ted Simmons, Bud Selig, Bob Costas, all sitting down with the media earlier today, discussing what went into the planning of today's day, what you can expect from some of these amazing moments, memorabilia. There's just a whole bunch of great stuff going on today at American Family Field. Here is that sound from Drew Wagner earlier today.
Planning of this day, a lot of thought and went into how to best do this with the fans and how you think it came together.
The planning for the day started once the family was able to, Bob was so much larger than life that it was hard to, in fact, to this day, it's hard for me to comprehend that he's gone. So you can imagine how the family feels. So till they were able to just get their arms around that, but then it started in earnest, and the organization's goal was to do whatever felt right for the family. And so everything that you've seen up to this point and that you'll see today was all to follow the family's wishes.
Just for Mark and anybody, just how tough was it to kind of come up with something that would adequately be an adequate tribute for somebody who meant so much to the organization in the last half century?
Yeah, there's nothing we can do to cherish and celebrate the 55 years that, Bob was part of us, and longer, back for Wisconsin baseball. It goes back to his, getting signed by the Braves, and so we've kind of stepped into it. We had a private session at the theater. Was it which theater was it?
The High Life Theater, Northern High
The
Life.
High Life. They didn't want to give it the wrong brand. The High Life Theater, which Bob Costas was awesome. So we did sort of a Johnny Carson format. Bob was, I think, the most. I think he was the.
I was the poor man's Johnny Carson. It was like the Tonight Show because he was on the Tonight Show some 100 times.
Yeah.
And so we had people who do little remembrances, and we're going to show the same videos that we showed on that April night in the theater on the big board to take him around the bases and back to home. Start with his early career growing up in Wisconsin, playing for the Milwaukee Braves, then move on to all the entertainment stuff, the Tonight Show and the Miller Lite commercials and the Major League movies, then his career as an announcer, and then bring him home with specifically the Brewers. So Christian Yelich will be on stage with us, and Ted and Bud and Mark and George Brett to represent the friendly opposition, to talk about how he and you always bonded every time the Royals played the Brewers. And I believe Brian Anderson will be with me to talk about his announcing career. I'm probably leaving a few people out. Robin Yount will be on stage. So that's the idea, and we wanted to be true to Bob. This was Bob's true home, the ballpark. He was a baseball man through and through, and he could have left to go to a bigger market. Almost any team would have hired him.
Yankees for sure.
Yeah, the Yankees. George Steinbrenner wanted him for sure. And, actually, this reminds me of a story that can't come up today the way this is going. Brewers are playing the Yankees, and Richard Nixon, who was a baseball fan, is in Steinbrenner's box. And he looks over and sees Euchre, and he says to Steinbrenner, I'd like to meet Euchre. So Euchre abandons the broadcast, goes over for about 3 innings, comes back, sits down next to Pat Hughes, and Hughes says, so how was it meeting the president? And Hughes says, Richie's not a bad guy.
This message is for you, Bob. As the one on the dice that doesn't have an official connection to the Brewers, I'm interested what your first remembrances were of Bob and how you first encountered him and thought that he might be a good partner for you for some certain broadcasts.
The first time I remember seeing him, because growing up in New York and then living as a young broadcaster in St. Louis, I had not heard him on the Brewers games. I remember him with Johnny Carson. And Dick Ebersol, who ran NBC Sports, but founded Saturday Night Live along with Lorne Michaels. He knew Bob very well and actually suggested Uke as a host of SNL. And he aced that too. He had a whole thing with Billy Crystal where supposedly he was Billy Crystal's dad and Billy was like a little league guy and he had to tell him he traded him to another team, And so it was through Ebersol that I came to know Uke, like in the late 80s, early 90s. And then when NBC got baseball back, Ebersol says, you want to work with Uke? I say, sure as hell. Absolutely. So that's how we hooked up.
Adam.
Maybe for Bud and for Ted, one of the things we always hear is how Uke was one of the guys. He was part of the team as a broadcaster. But can you speak to that? Did you like that as a broadcaster that he was part of the team?
Well, it's a long, great relationship. When I hired him in January of 1971, the New York Writers Union, I'd like to go to work. Okay, good. That was it. So this relationship became famous, meaningful. That's how it started. And I just regarded Bob as a friend. Never, I mean, he was so good. He'd do anything that you asked. Mark knows the same kind of relationship. It was easy. So what did I regard him at? Part of what's going on. That's what I regard. I didn't. He turned himself into a great broadcaster. He didn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, it's true.
He really turned him. I must admit to you, he knew this. 9th innings after games we won, Mark understands the difference. And Teddy certainly. When I was done pacing, I listened. Because you were doing the top of the ninth, especially when it ended well, was really a treat. And that's how I regard it.
He was a real source of help for me. I'll make this as short as I can. But when I came to Milwaukee, I came after 10 years in St. Louis. My identity and my reality was established there. When I came here to Milwaukee, I didn't know a soul. The only actually person I knew came with me, and that was Bukovic, who I caught for a few years and knew what he was all about. But I knew after spring training what I had in my lap here, and I got to come to know who these guys I had just come to, who didn't know me from Adam either. But I knew one thing about Euchre, and it happened just by chance one day. He didn't know me really, and I didn't know him or anybody else, and he approached me and says, "Hey, Teddy," and he began by saying, "I used to," and when someone approaches me that way, I know the next line is, "I used to play Major League Baseball," or something like that. And he said, "I used to be with the Cardinals," instead of saying that. And I said, "Oh yeah, I know about that." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah. We were with the Cardinals in '64 when they won the whole shooting match with the Yankees." And I said, "You were there in '65 when that whole Johnny Keane thing, Red Cheney's, Yogi Berra exploded because Johnny Keane had just won the '64 World Series. Then Augie Bush decided, I think, wanted Yogi Berra to become manager. Yogi wouldn't leave the Yankees. Keane, when he found out about it, says, "I just won a World Series and you want me replaced?" Well, he wouldn't stay with the team, and that's when Red came. And so Euchre had that history, and he was surprised that I knew it. Well, I'd been 10 years in St. Louis, and I understand after that long history. And so he starts asking me, "Euchre, how you getting along? Red, Gibbs, Rock, Flood."
There is some sound from Ted Simmons, Bob Costas, Mark Antanasio, Bud Selig about from earlier today from our guy Andrew Wagner, sending that over, talking about really just reminiscing, sharing some stories about Euchre from years past and what went into the planning of today's day with the celebration of life set to happen for Bob Euchre. We're going to get to Andrew Wagner next here. No Luis Olmos on today's show. We will still have a parlay for the people that'll come in the third segment of today's show. But let's get over to Andrew Wagner. It's the leadoff show live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
What's the latest on the crew? Let's go inside the clubhouse with Drew Wagner of Forbes Sports on the Leadoff Show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 1057 FM The Fan. Inside the Clubhouse is brought to you by Focus Baseball. Join their fall mini camps at focusbaseball.com.
Welcome back to the Leadoff Show. Tommy Wortz here with you, getting you caught up. All things Brewers Giants ahead of the series finale today. Bob Uecker's celebration of life game as well at American Family Field. Before we get to Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports, let me run down Milwaukee's lineup again in case you missed it at the top of the hour. Sal Frelick in right field to lead things off. Caleb Durbin at third base will bat second. William Contreras, the DH, will bat third. Christian Yelich in left field bats fourth today. Andrew Vaughn at first base will bat fifth. Bryce Terang at second base will bat sixth. Danny Jansen, the catcher, bats seventh. Brandon Lockridge in center field will bat eighth. Andrew Monasterio, the shortstop, batting ninth. Joining the show now, as he does each and every day, in the second segment, earlier now than the third segment on the Fan Guest Hotline powered by Gruber Law, it is Drew Wagner of Forbes Sports. Drew, thank you so much for taking some time earlier in the show so that you could make sure that you're in attendance for the Bob Uecker celebration of life happening at American Family Field today. What was it like going in this morning and seeing all the tributes and different memorabilia and just everything now with this day around Bob Uecker today, Drew?
I think it kind of became real today. I always tell friends, I had someone that called me right after my mom died and said, listen, it's not going to be real for a while. Like there'll be a day, 6 months after the funerals and everything, where you get like a piece of mail or you find something, and that's when it kind of sinks in. And they were right. And I think today it kind of became real. When you're at the ball game every day, you don't get to listen. And obviously you're not seeing Bob every day. So it's he's not there. But seeing all the displays, all the memorabilia, all the tributes, all the people here, it kind of sinks in that, our friend isn't with us anymore. And it's a bummer, man. Like it is definitely a bummer because Bob Uecker is synonymous with Brewers baseball. And for those of us that grew up here, that's a lifetime of memories. For a lot of us, that's how our fandom started. That's how some of us got into this business, was listening to the ball game on the radio in your backyard, with your dad while he was grilling, sitting up north, listening on the radio. It's a huge loss. It is a huge loss, but it's going to be a great celebration today. Yeah, not even just for Milwaukee and the Brewers, but for baseball, right? Uecker had just such a big personality that stretched all over and felt like everyone who ever had any interaction with them just could say they were best friends with him at the same time too. Drew, what do they have going on so far right now? I know they've had a lot of like memorabilia and, tchotchkes, if you will, of what he carried around. I know all of this was like family wishes. Like what's some of the really cool stuff they got going on over there right now in honor of Uecker? One thing that I didn't notice, they've got his classic Roadster convertible, which, old vintage car, which was actually used in the 82 post-World Series parade and carried him and Harvey and Audrey Keene. So that was a cool little thing. The sport coats are there. There's some displays from the Hall of Fame. There's all kinds of stuff. I haven't been able to see a lot of it yet because we've been doing a lot of interviews and stuff this morning, but there's some pop-up shops. There's all kinds of cool stuff. So hopefully they leave it up for a little bit so people that couldn't get here today can come take a look at it. Yeah, that would be awesome to keep that up as tribute for a little bit of time as well. Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports, joining us here on the Leadoff Show. Follow him on Twitter @ByAndrewWagner. Drew, I want to ask you, a little bit more about you and Uecker, right? And I saw you made a nice little touching tribute on your Twitter page. What's like some of the best memories? Like what was one of those stories that you can tell on air? I know some of them weren't necessarily family friendly, but like just do it again and remember on Uecker because it is like his day today at the ballpark, and I think people would like to hear one of your stories about him. I after he passed, I told my favorite story about how him and Mickey Mantle taught Clete Boyer how to light a fart on fire and sent Clete Boyer to the hospital. And that's always going to be my favorite, euchre story. But honestly, my favorite euchre memories were just, sitting in the dugout during batting practice or after batting practice and just shooting the bull, just talking about life, just talking about the day, talking about the game. And the way that Bob and I kind of bonded was his family lived in the same neighborhood that I did growing up. So like it was years apart, but we had that connection. And, I knew a lot about the Milwaukee Braves, and that's how I got in with him and Johnny Logan. And we would just sit and talk about what it was like growing up in Milwaukee and being a Braves fan and then playing baseball in your hometown. And like, I was always infatuated with like Johnny Carson. I remember watching that show as a kid, and I loved talking to him about what Johnny Carson was like and what was like going on the show. Like, it was cool because I wasn't sitting and talking to the character Uke. It was just me and my friend Bob sitting and talking about the world. And sometimes it was just as simple as talking about going out fishing and absolutely no jokes, no goofiness. Just what was your fishing trip like? How were the fish biting? What'd you catch? What bait were you using? And those are the conversations that I'm going to cherish forever. Or just, two guys sitting around and talking about the world.
Yeah. Those are always the best. And to have it with a guy like Bob Uecker, like just unmatched for sure, Drew. I saw earlier today as well. I think Adam McCalvey technically breaks the news, and then they release it in a nice little press release with the press box now being renamed to the Bob Uecker Broadcast Center, welcoming media and colleagues at the entrance sign now being a tribute to Bob Uecker, and the baseball with the retired numbers. It looks like it's not a 50 anymore, Drew. It's a microphone now, all in honor of Bob Uecker. A really nice touch by the Milwaukee Brewers, if I do say so myself, Drew.
Yeah, I'm standing under the sign right now, the Bob Uecker Broadcast Center, and it's important to remember that the press box already has a name. It's the Bob Betts Press Box.
Yeah.
For the legendary PA announcer for years and years and years. But it's a beautiful touch. It's a beautiful sign. The plaque hanging up in the outfield is gorgeous. I mean, they did a good job with it.
Yeah, and you were talking, we played a little bit of your sound from Mark, Bob, Ted, and Bud. So thanks for sending that over. That's kind of what took over the first segment, most of this show. What did you get from them, though, today? Just like, again, a wide range of people, from the owner to a commissioner to Bob Costas, the legendary he is, right? And just like how big that personality of Bob Uecker was able to get around throughout the entire sports world, and how much it really means for, the Uecker family and Brewers baseball, that everyone really wanted to be a part of this event today, Drew.
Yeah, and it doesn't even do it justice because he touched so much more than just the world of baseball. I mean, the guy was everywhere. I mean, he did the Miller Lite commercials. He did Mr. Belvedere, and the cast of that show is going to be here today. The guy did so much, and the important thing to note is he never lost touch of who he was or where he came from. For him, it was always about Milwaukee, and it was always about the Brewers. That was always home to him, and that never changed, no matter all the big things he did. And listen, the guy had offers. I mean, he could have left for brighter lights and bigger pastures a million times, but he never did. Milwaukee was home to him. The Brewers were his team. Everything always came back to that, and I respect the hell out of that.
Absolutely. That's I think he made that very well known and very well documented as well, that it was never really about making himself look better. It was always, how can the broadcast be better, and how can I make this a little bit more of an enjoyable experience for everyone who's involved with the production and journalism as well throughout that. He was just a part of making everyone's day better. It always felt like as well. So, Drew, one thing about today's game, right, before we get out of here, Chad Patrick on the bump back for Milwaukee today. He is returning while Carlos Rodriguez is getting sent down. What do you think about, like, just the emotions of all the players today? Is it going to be a tough one? Is it more of just, today's bigger than baseball? Like, what goes into the mindset of today when you're a player and you have like this moment before the game? You're going to have some moments during the game, I'm sure. What goes into that as a player?
I mean, I'm sure it's going to be difficult, but they're professionals. They got a job to do. And listen, I mean, at the same time, Bob was one of them. He was a player. I mean, they want to go out and they want to win today. It's that simple. I think the emotions will be there, but they know that when it's time to cross the lines, it's time to cross the lines, and they'll have something bigger to focus on.
Absolutely. Drew Wagner joining us here on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Drew, I'll let you get to your seat. I know you got a couple of minutes before the celebration of life is set to begin. I will join you there after the conclusion of this show, and I will see you shortly, my friend. All right?
All right, sounds good.
There he is, Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports. Follow him on Twitter at @Andrew Wagner on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. I want to read this in the press release here that we got today from the Milwaukee Brewers. Today, sold out crowd at American Family Field. They have tributes, include permanent installations, rare memorabilia collections, numerous programming elements created especially just for this day. Some permanent installations. We mentioned one. The Bob Uecker Broadcast Center will warmly welcome the media and colleagues to the entrance. Illuminated sign bears Bob's signature and is just one of the daily reminders of the dedication, passion, and humor that Ueck imparted on the club. Overlooking right field at American Family Field, alongside the names of iconic Brewers players and retired numbers, Bob Uecker's medallion has been updated to display a single microphone and his name, representing the indescribable mark Bob had on both the airwaves and on the club. The medallions on display include Hank Aaron, Raleigh Fingers, Jackie Robinson, Paul Molitor, Bud Selig, Robin Yount, and now the new Uecker medallion, updated Uecker medallion of the microphone. Spread throughout 4 locations inside American Family Field, one on each seating area, displays of rare memorabilia from Uecker's personal collection. Fans can see items including a rare 1980 Auburn dual cowl Phantom, it's convertible that was talked about. One of just 18 in the world, and the actual car that arrived that carried Harvey and Audrey Keene in the Brewers 1982 World Series parade. The original bullpen cart from the movie Major League, colorful selection of sport coats, including one from the bar scene in the Miller Lite All-Star commercials, Uecker's rookie baseball contract, game-worn Cardinals uniform, Uecker's personal motorcycle, Christian Yelich's Uecker-themed bat that he used to hit 2 homers at Cincinnati, and much, much more, all involved with Bob Uecker. There is going to be inning breaks featuring video highlights throughout Uecker's life, honoring the universally beloved entertainer and the voice of the Brewers. The 50-50 is all going back to charitable Uecker provided preferred charities, rather. Baseballs, bases featuring Uecker's celebration design will be used during this game only. 7th inning stretch will include a toast to Uecker, recalling Ueck's starring role in the iconic and hilarious Miller Lite All-Star TV spots that ran from 1974 until 1991. A limited edition retail collection honoring Uecker is available today at all retail locations at American Family Field, including pop-up shops on the loge level. Items are expected to sell out quickly and includes a special poster featuring original artwork. The poster and the other apparel and novelty items are reference to Uecker's iconic taglines in his Milwaukee baseball career and his celebrated entertainment career. Portion of those proceeds also going back to Uecker's preferred charities. The Uecker Memorial uniform patch returns today. They will be wearing that as well. Uecker's autograph painted on the turf behind home plate. We have seen that. And, of course, we will have that on the mound in stencil today. Ueck, U-E-C-K, featured on today's mound stencil. There was a message as well from the family today that the Milwaukee Brewers shared with everyone. It went like this. I'll read it here as well. To our fellow Milwaukeeans and Wisconsinites, to Bob's friends and fans from near and far. Today we come together to celebrate Bob's life. And as we gather at the ballpark, our family is overwhelmed with gratitude. Your outpouring of stories, tributes, and affection continues to remind us just how deeply he was cherished and how much he meant to so many. To say he loved this team, this city, and this state would be an understatement. Milwaukee was his home, and the Brewers were an extension of his family. Seeing that love reflected back means more than we could ever put into words. There is something truly special about this community, and Bob felt it every single day. Thank you for welcoming him into your lives, for making him part of your families, and for holding him in your hearts. Thank you for showing up today to say so long to our Bob. We will surely share a laugh and maybe shed a tear while we honor him in the most fitting of ways, at the place he loved so much, surrounded by the people he loved even more. We have no doubt that Bob is here with us in spirit. And finally, thank you to the Brewers organization for putting together such an incredible celebration. Your unwavering support has carried us through this challenging time. We will never forget this day and the way you've all kept Bob's memory alive. That was from the Euchre family. Whew. I mean, a heavy day indeed. A heavy day. And they just started some of the festivities on FanDuel Sports Network that they are as well doing in the stadium. It sounds like they are doing a journey around the bases and correlating that back to Bob's life, in which you will start at first base, his early playing career, and then from there take on his celebrity background, his broadcasting background, and it will make a trip around the bases as this story goes on. Bob Euchre, just an amazing celebration of life, what they got going on here, and the Euchre family saying their appreciations for this great event that the Brewers have planned today. And it should be known that they have video of him going right now. Bob Euchre just speaking out like he would, telling jokes on FanDuel Sports Network. It is a much bigger day than just baseball going on for the Milwaukee Brewers. And now, as well, some other things that I can share is that the Brewers roster coaching staff going to be paying tribute today to Bob Euchre, as all players and coaches will wear Uke as the name on the back in tribute to Wisconsin's voice of the summer. Just a great tribute by the Milwaukee Brewers and what Bob Euchre meant to this team and to the city that they continue to showcase now. As Mitch Nellis likes to say, when I worked across the street, I worked these nighttime programming, and that often meant to work Brewers baseball games. I have some funny stories about Mr. Euchre, who unfortunately I never got to meet directly, but he kept me awake many a nights when you have West Coast baseball or anything else from there. I've gotten to hear some pretty awesome stories. I'll share one on the other side. That's my favorite, at least, when it comes to Bob Euchre. It's the leadoff show. We're going to get to our checking in with the expert. Luis Olmos is at the game today, will not be joining us, but has sent over a nice little parlay for the people. Get you guys caught up on what's going on over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook as well, in case you guys have missed any of the exciting action that'll be happening over the time now at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It is the leadoff show live from the 1250 AM 1057 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
At the wall, looking up. See you later.
Let's get the latest on today's odds for the game. What's the best way to go? Let's check in with our expert from the Potawatomi Sportsbook to find out. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 1057 FM, The Fan.
Welcome back to the leadoff show. Tommy Wortz here with you live from the 1250 AM 1057 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Before we talk about our Potawatomi Sportsbook parlay best bets of the day today, let me run down Milwaukee's lineup one more time for you guys here today. Leading things off for Milwaukee, Sal Frelick in right field. Batting second, it's Caleb Durbin at third base. William Contreras will bat third. He is the DH. Christian Yelich in left field bats fourth today. Andrew Vaughn at first base will bat fifth. Bryce Terang at second base will bat sixth. Danny Jansen, the catcher, bats seventh today. Brandon Lockridge in center field will bat eighth. Andrew Monasterio, the shortstop, batting ninth. Luis Olmos over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, unable to join us. He's at the game today, as a lot of people are, right? And I said, totally okay. That's no worries. We can plug away. We love our good friends over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook anyway. Know about a ton of great stuff they got going on. If you're using that shuttle today, don't forget they have their shuttles for the Brewers home games now, an hour before, an hour after. They'll take you to the game, take you from the game. All you got to do, place a $5 bet on anything in the sports book. You can spend some money over at the sports book on some drinks or some food as well. That could also get you on the shuttle, but as small as $5 to place a bet on anything at the sports book. You can go to and from the game. They give you free play on the way back. Awesome tribute that they got going on for Bob Uecker right now with Christian Yelich speaking. They got all the jerseys now. You can see them that it says Ueck on the back. Everyone wearing that. That's an awesome tribute they got right now. Today, the betting odds courtesy of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Moneyline has the Brewers favored at -132. -1.5. The run line will get you +155 at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And the over-under set at 8 today. I asked Luis Olmos to give me a nice little parlay for the people before he was able to go to the game today. And he said he's going just storybook sentimental today. You got to go with the Brewers on the money line for him. And Christian Yelich to hit a homer as well. And that'll pay +750, courtesy of the Potawatomi Sportsbook today. Brewers money line, Christian Yelich to hit a homer, +750. That parlay for the people, courtesy of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Other things going on over at Potawatomi you got to know about. They have their reservations officially open now for week 1 of the college football season and week 1 of the NFL season. You go to their website over at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino, get under the reservations tab, find the sports book, and then try to get your nice group outing for any of the week 1 games. Packer game as well, going to be a high ticket, high priced item as well. Make sure you get those in early. They hook you up with a nice deposit, which all you have to do is put a deposit down for food and drink. That's a great thing they do over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's going to be awesome to get that worked out. They also have, of course, specials going on each and every day. They have the UFC fight nights as well. Plenty of great stuff happening over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. One more time, parlay for the people today. Brewers money line, Christian Yelich to record a homer. It'll pay +750, courtesy of the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
The key to building a winner in baseball is a strong minor league system. Who are the names we should know? How did they play in their last game? It's time for Building a Winner. Ironworkers Local 8 brings you Building a Winner. Skip the debt. Learn a trade. Apply now at iwl8.org. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM. The Fan.
Yes, time for another Building a Winner feature presented by Ironworkers Local 8. Thanks again to Ironworkers Local 8 for being a part of the leadoff show all season long. Got to take a look around the minor leagues still today. I know the show all different order than it usually is, but a special day today with the celebration of life for Mr. Bob Uecker. We have put some things all around in order so we could hear a little bit from Drew Wagner. And we still got to take a look around the minor leagues, of course. And we do that always starting with AAA.
Nashville Sounds.
Yes, Nashville yesterday took a beatdown, 13-4 over the Louisville Bats. In the game yesterday, Oliver Dunn picked up 2 hits. Jackson Churio was on his rehab assignment. I was looking at the wrong side of the box score here. Jackson Churio 0 for 4 back on his rehab assignment. Rhys Hoskins homering again, though, however, while he was on his rehab assignment. Oliver Dunn 1 for 4 in the contest as well for Milwaukee. Daz Cameron also with a homer, his 15th on the season. No hits for Stuart Baroa. Eric Haas, Freddie Zamora picked up a hit in the game. Today, Bruce Zimmerman was pitching yesterday for Milwaukee from the Nashville Sounds. 7 earned runs over 3 innings of work, gave up 3 homers. Louisville's bats were indeed pretty hot yesterday.
Biloxi Shuckers.
Biloxi yesterday picked up a big win over the Chattanooga Lookouts, 11-1. Garrett Spain, big base hit. Blake Burke, another one. Matthew Wood had a double that would bring home the first run of the contest, and 2 for 4 from Xavier Warren. A home run from Garrett Spain in the action. Really, everyone on fire. Luis Lara, Brewers number 12 prospect, picked up 2 hits in the game. Biloxi all over it, and a good performance from Jaron DeBerry. Went 7 innings, just 4 hits allowed, no earned runs in the contest.
Wisconsin Timber Rattlers.
Timber Rattlers yesterday, they were taking on the Beloit Sky Cart. They fell 2-0 in that game. Base hit from Andrew Fisher and Jesus Mate. Luis Pena struggling a little bit now, 0 for 4 in yesterday's game. Jesus Mate has a 1,009 OPS since being called up to the Timber Rattlers, and a 350 batting average at that. Pena at 708 on his OPS. Marco Dinges 823. That first 4, man, in the lineup for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, just unreal right now. Bishop Letson 2 2/3, 1 earned run in the contest yesterday. 3 strikeouts. He gets the loss. It was his first one as a member of High A Wisconsin.
Carolina Mudcats.
Mudcats had a doubleheader yesterday. They lost in game 1 and won in game 2. Some of the highlights: Brady Abel 2 for 4 as he started his career off with Carolina. Eric Batanti picked up an RBI with 2 walks. Jose Anderson 2 for 5. Filippo Dituri 2 for 3. Able to reach base on a walk as well later on in the contest. Now the Carolina Mudcats back in first place, actually, in the North Division. Very much possible to get their postseason hopes now back in line. No more Arizona Complex League. No more Dominican Summer League. That is our Building a Winner feature presented by Iron Workers Local 8. Building Milwaukee's future, one beam at a time. Haven't talked a lot about the game at hand today as Bryce Terang returns back to the lineup. Chad Patrick making the start today after they let Carlos Rodriguez really go after it yesterday in the contest. Brewers lost 7-1. We're in the middle of a 7-game home winning streak now snapped. Some other names, news, notes you need to get to. Sal Frelick hit safely now in 7 straight games. He's batting .370 over that stretch. Sal Frelick is 3rd in the National League in batting average. He's batting .299. Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, both batting .301. So a chase for a batting crown, very, very possible now for Sal Frelick, as he is right next to the top here with plenty of time left in the season. Bryce Terang, 20 games in August now, has been phenomenal after the day off yesterday. He's batting .365 in August, has 8 homers, 20 RBIs during that stretch, and Terang ranks among the National League leaders in the following categories since the start of August. 770 slugging, that's first. 1190 OPS, that's first. 8 homers, also first. 14 extra base hits is second. 365 average is fourth. 20 RBIs tied for 5th. 27 hits tied for 6th. 16 runs, that's tied for 8th in all of baseball in that stretch. Bryce Terang been very hot. Chad Patrick updating you on what he has been going on with this season. Chad Patrick will make his 20th start for Chad Patrick. I believe yesterday was Jose Quintana's 20th start, to put that into perspective on what he has done. Little bit of a hiatus from his 18th and 19th starts. He was last with the club in the first game of the Chicago Cubs series, in which he went 5 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, had 5 runs, 3 earned runs, 4 strikeouts in the contest. It'll be the first time he has faced anyone on this San Francisco Giants team for Chad Patrick. And it has not been a very smooth last 3 outings for Chad Patrick compared to how his first few went. His ERA back when he was with the club was under 3 at a point going into June. Now he has, I believe, a 5.6 ERA on his last 3 starts. So trying to find his way back. And today is going to be a tough day to do it, right? I mean, Chad Patrick being up celebration of life for Bob Uecker. Should be really just a crazy, emotional roller coaster of a day. But you know that like the Brewers are going to feel it really well today. And like I said, you just can't stop watching this right now. The Uecker tribute's going on FanDuel Sports Network. Looks like it's awesome. Awesome as of right now. One more thing to get to before we get out of here.
How does the Crew win today's game? Who needs to step up? Let's find out with the keys to the game. It's the Leadoff Show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Keys to the game, how we always end each and every leadoff show. Do something a little bit different for it today as well. Today just seems like I know the Brewers want to win. I know. But it's a day that's just way bigger than that. And means a whole lot more. And maybe that'll help them in this process. Maybe it won't. But I just wanted to share my favorite Uecker story I remember hearing for today's key to the game. Because it's just one of the funnier like short stories that he told on air that I will never forget now, because it has to kind of be my story that I remember from being on air and hearing it from Uecker. And that was, he told this story when the Brewers, were, I believe, losing in a game, because those were when his best stories would pop out. And a position player was pitching for Milwaukee, and Lane got to asking him if he ever pitched in a game. To which Uecker replied, yeah, I did. I did all right too. I struck someone out. And Lane then continues to ask him, oh, really? Like, how'd that go? He's like, well, I was kind of ticked off when the manager came to pull me from the game, because I told him, hey, look, keep me in for one more batter. Last time I saw this guy, I struck him out. And he then replied back with, I know, Uecker, it is the same inning in which you struck him out last time. Just insinuating that, it was a whole inning that Uecker was pitching, and they finally pulled the plug on it after he had batted around. Maybe it's a dumb story, but it was just hilarious to me when I heard it. And that's like the one story I remember of one story that stands out. Not the only one I remember with Bob Uecker, but that's the one that I'll remember him for. So that's going to do it for us on today's show here at The Fan. Make sure you guys are checking out all your favorite local programming here on The Fan YouTube now, youtube.com/@TheFanMilwaukee. Whether that's the Pack-A-Day radio show with Andy Herman, a lot to talk about starting tomorrow at 8 a.m. with Andy as the Brewers wrap up the Packers wrap up their preseason now. Mason Crosby show, 9 a.m. to 11 with Mitch Thunder Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. And of course, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's between 2 and 5 every weekday with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. It's the leadoff show live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, send them home.